Hi everyone! It is now time for the Q&A Ask Anything on Facebook Live tonight at 7. So it's just now 7. Well, actually just a little bit past. I was just like scrolling through. I didn't realize on Facebook Live now you can do filters too, like on Snapchat. You know how Instagram has a filters, like it has Instagram stories. Now Facebook has Facebook stories, and anyway, trying to rival Snapchat, I guess. So, which if you don't follow me there, I am on Snapchat. I usually just post. I like to chat with people and post on Instagram stories, or I'm sorry, Snapchat stories. I kind of just show you like what I do during the day. So a lot of times it's almost exactly the same because I do a lot of the same routines every single day. So consistency is key, right? So just wait a couple minutes for people to join. I have like a bunch of questions, a handful of questions that people submitted in advance in regards to nutrition. There's a lot on glute training, a little on meditation and that sort of thing. So wait just a second. I'm just going to check to see if there is any other questions. And if you've already joined, feel free to say hi or feel free to ask questions during this time as well. So, since now we are 3 minutes past 7, I like to get started on time. So we'll go ahead and get started, and as people join, you can ask questions, and I will go over the questions that were submitted to me via Facebook, Snapchat, and on Instagram. So let's see, the first question, which is an amazing question, because this is a big myth, I think, and I get this question often. So the first question is, I have a friend with a low income situation who's desperately trying to beat a high blood sugar problem. How can someone with limited funds afford the grocery bills for a clean eating regimen? So a lot of people think that eating healthy, or when we say clean eating, we really mean just like eating whole foods. So limiting fast food, limiting processed food, limiting sugars, and limiting vegetable oils like vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, that sort of thing, because that really raises omega-3 fatty acid levels, which we don't want that in our body, because when the 3 and 6 levels are out of balance, like then it creates inflammation, and as we all know, inflammation is bad. So anyway, how do you eat healthy on a limited budget? So I thought I would just give you like a shopping list, like this is what you can get, and then some general tips. So let's start with the general tips. The first thing is, don't try to make complicated recipes. Keep it simple. If you're on a budget, you may not be able to make some of the recipes that you see other people making, but you still can eat healthy and still get amazing health benefits. You can still feel amazing. You can still lose weight, decrease your blood pressure, whatever the case may be. So keep it simple. So that's my first thing, is keep it simple. The next thing is keep an eye out for sales. So if you know like that you like one of the protein options I'm going to recommend is albacore tuna. So while you don't want to have it every day, it's a good staple, and if you can buy it when it's on sale, like that's going to be the best for you. So shop the sales and kind of stock up on those staple items when they're available and when they're on sale to save money. The next thing is, at any grocery store, shop in like the bulk bins so you can get things a lot cheaper. So a lot of times grains, so many grains, nuts and seeds, things like that, you can buy in the bulk bins for less money than if it was in a package. Because if it's in some sort of package, it's going to cost more money to produce it, and so the retail cost for that is going to be higher. Also, if you can, shop at like a Costco or a Sam's Club where you can get larger quantities of things. So while I don't shop at Costco for everything, the things I do always buy there are oatmeal. So regular Quaker oats or Bob's Red Mill still cut oats, they always have that at my local Costco, and it's a huge bag, huge bags of this for, under $9, whereas one small container, the regular grocery store of like Quaker Oats, is like $5. So I always get my oatmeal there. I get all my frozen veggies there. They have a great organic frozen veggies section for very inexpensive. And I get my meat at Costco too. Specifically, let's see, wild caught fish and shrimp and chicken breasts. So I get all of that there. I do get my husband ground turkey there as well. And it saves a lot of money by doing that. So the other things is, okay, so let's go to like the shopping list now. So those are just general tips. So first, always buy in-season fruits or vegetables. When you buy in season, you know that it is going to be less expensive, right? Because it's that idea of supply and demand. So it's less expensive and it's more nutritious too, because it's picked when it's ripe and then sent right to the store. And so you don't have to worry about it being picked before it's ripened and then like ripened on the truck or in a refrigerator at the store. So buy in season, and then if you can't buy in season, buy frozen fruits and vegetables. They'll retain the most nutritional value. Again, shop the sales. Go ahead and ditch the canned fruits and vegetables if you can at all, because those have some additives in there, and you know, the can and the BPA and all of that. So that's for fruits and vegetables. As far as carbs go, get rice. You can get dry beans. All you have to do to make the cooking on those easier, and it's so much cheaper than getting canned, is to soak them overnight just in water and then drain them. You can get potatoes and you can get oatmeal. All of those things are great carbohydrate sources that you can get in large quantities, and you can cook with them. So now as far as protein goes, look for the sales on boneless, skinless chicken breast, or buy it at Costco like I said. Albacore tuna in water, not necessarily in oil. Low-fat cottage cheese you can get for a good price, and eggs. So those are all of my like protein things that I would get. And then you also want to get some healthy fats too. And I know buying a container of coconut oil can be kind of expensive, but if you get that at Costco too, you get I should have grabbed it from downstairs, but you get a big huge thing like this big for very, very inexpensive. So coconut oil is a really good way to get your healthy fats in and just cook with that, or you can even put that in shakes or smoothies, and nut butter too. So nut butter is going to be a great way to get some more healthy fats in. So that's my list of things that you can buy at the store or in bulk to save money and still eat clean on a budget. Now, the way to make all of this kind of simple food flavorful is to stock up on spices and seasoning when those are on sale too. Cumin, turmeric, chili powder, sea salt, black pepper, cinnamon. Those are some of my favorites that I use all the time. And if you season your food with that, then you will be good to go. So I hope that answers that question. Really, really awesome question. Thank you, Nicole, for submitting that. So let's go into another nutrition question. So Michael asked, as far as supplements go, are BCAAs and pre-workout worth investing in? So this is also a question that I get all the time. So this is a really, really, really good question. So first of all, BCAAs are branched chain amino acids. So basically what they do is they promote muscle synthesis, and there are some good studies to back that up. And then pre-workout basically is either caffeine, or there's some ingredients in it where it pumps water. Basically it looks like you have a muscle pump, like when you're working out, so your bicep looks really, you know, like big, that sort of thing. The idea behind pre-workout is that you'll be able to go harder, lift more intensely, do more. So that's the idea behind that. Now, are these two things required in order to build muscle, lose fat, be healthy? No. Definitely not at all. The reason why I like a pre-workout, usually this is what my pre-workout is. This is coffee. It's an Americano. It's like $1.50. It's not very expensive, or you can make it at home for even cheaper, right? Because I just want a little bit of extra kick of caffeine. Some of the pre-workouts are so strong, and what you'll find is it kind of plays a mental game with you. If you use pre-workout all too often, you think, oh, I'm out of pre-workout, I'm not going to have a good workout today, when that's really not the case. And so I don't really use pre-workout that much. Some people swear by it, so it's totally up to you. It's totally safe to use. But as I always say, look at the ingredients in there and just make sure that's something that you want to be putting in your body. As far as the branched chain amino acids go, basically, it's usually like 3 of the building blocks of protein. So leucine, isoleucine, and valine are usually what's in there, and usually like glutamine and that sort of thing. As far as that goes, the reason why I do like those is, again, there's some good studies on promoting muscle synthesis, and they have a little bit of caffeine in there often as well. You can get uncaffeinated ones, but I like it because it's flavored, and sometimes it's just nice to have something different than water. Or if you're doing training in the morning before you actually have a substantial meal, you could drink that while you're training to help promote muscle synthesis and protect your muscles. There is also something called essential amino acids, and my brother recently turned me on to this, and so I've really been looking into it, and it's not super big on the market. But anytime you hear the word essential before any like food, vitamin, mineral, supplement, what that really means is essential means that our body doesn't synthesize, our body doesn't make it on its own, so we have to take it in through our diet in order to get that into our body. So that's what the essential amino acids are, and there's 9 of them. So that's another good option too, although it's a little bit harder to find. I know True Nutrition has a brand of essential amino acids. And then non-essential, anytime that's before like vitamins, minerals, supplements, whatever, that just means that your body can make them. So kind of the difference there. So it's really personal preference on the BCAAs or the pre-workout. Just don't get caught in that you have to have it in order to have a good lift, or you have to have it in order to do your run, you know, because that's really not the case. I really like to promote getting most of your nutrition through whole foods. Okay, now for those of you that have joined, I do have some questions that I'm answering that were submitted in advance, but if you have questions, go ahead and type them, and then I'll like go through the questions as well, and I'll try and get everybody's question answered while we're here tonight. Okay, so let's see. So now I have 2 questions in regards to glute training, or building exercise, building that booty, whatever you want to call it. So one says, I want to know butt building exercise for someone working out with a bad hip, so weighted squat, lunges, etc. are out of the question. First, I might want to know a little bit more about like the hip injury, because you might be able to do some of those things, but we're just going to go with like you're not able to. And then the next one is, what are the best weight training lifts to build glutes? So first things first, let's go with the one with maybe like kind of a bad hip. And so, well, actually no, let's talk about just weight training in general. So the number one thing that you can do to improve your performance in the gym with weight training is to increase intensity and really focus and make sure the lift that you're doing, you can actually feel the muscle working. So for example, let's say you can do squats and you're really trying to focus on your glutes, and you do not feel them working at all during squats, well, that may not be the best exercise for you to build your glutes, right? Or if you're supposed to do bicep curls, I'm going to stand up for a second, and let's say this pencil is your dumbbell, and you're just lifting like this, and there's no contraction, what you should really do is contract your muscle at the top and go down. You don't want to go slow as snails, but you want to lift with intensity. And that's another thing that I've learned over the past couple years that have really changed. I guess I'd say the last like 3 or 4 years that's really changed my training and allowed me to build more muscle is lifting with intensity and purpose. Because I might be able to do a particular exercise, but somebody else's body composition might be a little bit different, so it may not work the same for them. So if you're not feeling it, try and change up the angle that you're at. And then if you're just really not feeling it in that area, do a different exercise, because again, everybody is going to be a little bit different. So that's just kind of like my basics. Just a sec, someone was asking how they listen to me. Okay. So let's talk about if you don't think that you can do squats or lunges, that sort of thing. So this you probably see all around. These are called like mini bands, booty bands, whatever, and they come in different resistance. So like this one's heavy, light. Usually you can get a pack of like a light, medium, heavy, extra heavy. And you can use these to wrap around either below your knees or right above your knees to do exercises with. So you can do walking to the side, lateral walks. You could do kickbacks where you're kicking your leg back. You could do squats with these. You could be lying on your back with your knees up and pushing your pelvis up to do some hip thrusts with these. So these are really, really, really great. And now the key here, when you're not lifting weights or not lifting heavy weights, is to have higher volume. If you're trying to train your glutes, you really want to be squeezing your glutes at the top of the contraction or wherever the contraction should be, and you should really feel the muscle working. So when you're done with your band work, you should really feel like your glutes have a good pump, like there's lots of blood flow into that area, and they are fatigued. If that is not working, then you're not going to be building your booty. So I have on my YouTube channel, it was called, I looked it up, let's see, Favorite Quick Glute Superset. So these were exercises that you should be able to do even if you have a hip issue, and my YouTube channel is just carmenohling. And so you can look that up. And I've gotten a lot of questions about glutes lately, so I will be posting a band workout that you can do. The other thing that you can do if you have a hip issue is to do single leg movements. And so maybe you're doing the leg press or maybe you're doing a hip thrust, but it's single leg. So you can just put like a weight plate like kind of on your hips a little bit so it's not hurting your hips, and you're using less weight because it's single leg. So things like that could really help as far as building your glutes. The other thing that I use for glutes is, this is just like an ankle weight. And so you could use these as well to do some of the similar exercises. Again, just really focusing on squeezing and contracting your glute, and make sure that you're doing enough volume, enough reps in order to build that intensity to be able to build your booty. And then now going to the gym, if you are in the gym, so just going down a list of exercises that I really like for my glutes. And again, one thing that I like to do is I'll do some warm-up exercises with the bands to kind of pre-activate my glutes. And really what that means is just making sure that I've fatigued my glutes a little bit, so when I'm doing my lifts, I can really feel them and make sure that I'm really working my glutes. So squats, just regular back squats, either high bar or low bar, and that just depends on where you have the bar kind of back here. Goblet squats or sumo squats, those are good where you're holding like a kettlebell or a dumbbell and your legs are out wide and holding it either up here or down in between your legs. The key to hit your glutes when you're doing squats is to point your toes out slightly and really sit back into the squat, and so you can really feel like that glute hamstring connection. Now you don't really have to like bottom out necessarily, but you want to at least hit parallel or just right below that if you can. And it's not about the weight. And so that's the biggest thing, is people are trying to lift too much weight. They're not going low enough. They're not hitting their glutes at all. They're just basically all kind of a quad movement and a core movement. And so lower the weight, get the form down first. Hip thrusts or weighted hip thrusts are really good too. You've probably seen like Brett Contreras talk about this all the time, but putting a barbell over your hips and doing hip thrusts. A key there is just making sure that the bench height that you have your back on is kind of even with your hips a little bit, and at the top, that's where the contraction is. You make sure that you want to squeeze your glutes and that your rib cage is down and that your chest is still up. So there's lots of good videos on that you can watch for hip thrusts. You can also, to make it a little bit more challenging, is put this either below or above your knee and do weighted hip thrusts with this extra motion, because that's providing constant tension on your glutes, which is something that you really want to have. And then lunges, if you're doing like walking lunges with a weight, try to lean forward just slightly, and that'll put more onto your glutes. Back extensions. So when you're doing your back extensions, what I like to do is turn my feet out slightly and bend my knees and really put just slightly, and then really push my quads into the pad and arch my back. And I don't come up all the way. I'm just coming up partial and really squeezing my glutes and hamstrings when I'm at the top, instead of making it a lower back movement where you're like overarching. You know, you see people do that at the gym. Try rounding your back. The two last things would be leg press. So I really do like the leg press. You can do single leg press and kind of turn to the side to really focus on your glute that way. Or if you put, again, toes out, because it has that external hip rotation, toes out and then up high and wide on the leg press will hit your glutes. And then finally, abduction, so when you're pushing out with your legs. So there's the machine, you know, that you see at the gym where you're like flaring your legs out. Or you could put this on around your legs and rotate your legs out as well. So there's lots that you can do with this. Again, I think the common mistake with working with bands is not doing enough volume to where you're not being intense enough and you don't have constant tension on your glutes, so you're never going to build anything. So let me know if you have more questions on the glute training, either like kind of like at home or, you know, not with weights. And lastly, if you're on a constant diet, and what I mean by constant diet, I don't just mean eating healthy, I mean like under eating to try to lose weight, you're never going to be able to build your glutes. So like, for example, I just started my contest prep this year, and so I know where I'm at right now when I'm at the gym and I'm training. I'm really training to just maintain what I have, right? And to lose fat. Like I exercise, I lift weights with intensity, and so you need to be eating enough calories in order to build muscle. So if you're always on a diet and under eating or not really eating anything at all, then you're never going to be able to build your glutes either. So that was a lot on glutes. Aren't you happy you heard all that, Brad? Okay, so please feel free to comment questions below if there are any more questions. I do have a few more questions to go through. So the next one about nutrition was, why is protein powder recommended? Why isn't that something we can just get naturally through a whole foods diet? So I believe that you don't have to buy any supplements, like I was saying with the pre-workout, the BCAAs. You don't have to supplement with protein powder at all. You can get all your foods from a whole foods diet, and nutritionally, like, boom, that is the way to go. If you can do that and you want to do that, more power to you. Go for it, right? The reason why I personally recommend protein powder, and I use it a lot in my off season and sometimes a little bit during contest prep too, is it provides variety. So, and anything that you can do to provide a little bit of variety when you're trying to stick to a certain nutrition plan is going to keep you being able to stick to that, right? So with protein powder, it means that I'm not getting all of my protein from eggs and lean meat. I can get it from a protein source. I can make a smoothie with it. Or really, my favorite thing to do with it is to make healthy, sweet treats. Because again, it's nice to have something sweet, you know, to change your flavor palette. A lot of us are really conditioned because the food industry adds sugar to everything, and we really want things really sweet. So especially if you're going from the standard American diet to a whole foods diet, protein powder is really good to be able to transition on the in-between to make healthy treats with. So that's why I recommend protein powder. There are some studies too in regards to drinking like whey protein powder a certain amount of time after training, especially like a whey protein isolate, and how quick that can get to your muscles. So there's some benefits to that as well that people really like. And then like a casein protein powder is kind of nice to use before bed because that stays with you longer. So anyway, that's the benefits of protein powder. Okay, let's see. Any other questions on protein powder? Let me know. Do you like that it's 7:20 and I'm still drinking my coffee? I'm going to go train after this. Train glutes. What do you know? Let's see. Okay, next question is, how do you start meditating? So meditation is something that I've been doing for a couple years now, and believe me, when I first started, like, that shit is hard. It's hard to calm your mind, and it's hard to just sit there. And if you're like me, I always have something on my mind, kind of the next thing that I want to do, or I'm always thinking about something. And really, that's why meditation is so important and so valuable to me. So it's part of my morning routine that I do every morning. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes. Really just depends on how much time I have, how I'm feeling, and what comes up for me. But how I started is I just started like with 1 minute. So I would take 1 minute. So I always sit on the floor with my legs crossed and a pillow supporting my back, kind of like leaning back against the couch I have. I'm in my little office right now. But you can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. One of the important things is to have your spine straight and like check your shoulders. Oftentimes we're up here like this. Maybe this is an exaggeration, but lift your shoulders up and then pull them back and down. And then start for a minute by just gently closing your eyes and breathing in. So breathe in through your nose and fill up not only your lungs, but like your belly too. And then breathe out, and breathe out completely through your mouth where your diaphragm contracts. And so what you can do is just for a minute do deep breathing like that and focus on your breath. And now at first when you start meditating, thoughts will come in, and it's not really about like stopping your thoughts, but it's recognizing them, releasing them, and then focusing back on your breath. The other thing you can do when you start meditating is focusing on some sort of like mantra or affirmation, something like that. So one of my big goals this year is like thinking big, playing big, pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. So this week during my meditation, a little mantra that I was saying is I am a powerhouse, right? And so just like breathing that in and then breathing it out and kind of saying that over and over. But you can do any sort of mantra that you want, I am enough, or, whatever it might be. Whatever your intention might be for the day. If that's still kind of challenging, you can go to YouTube. There's guided meditations there. I know a lot of my programs that I offer, my personal development program on authenticrealshit.com and my Food is Fuel program on carmenohling.com, those both offer meditations. And also there's an app. I did start with this, but I didn't really like the voice and how the guy talked. It was kind of weird. But it was a good starting space to give you like basics of meditation. There's an app called Headspace, and it's like 7 or 10 days is free, and it like adds on a little bit each and every day. So you could try that to get you started too with meditation. But really, meditation is about calming your mind, and all of us need that, like every day. Yesterday at the gym, I was having such a fantastic day, but I just wanted to take a minute and like thank the universe, thank God for like all the blessings that I was getting. So like kind of in the middle of the gym, I just sat down and like meditated for like 5 minutes. People probably looked at me weird, but afterwards I was like, because it kind of was a day where I was going here to here to here, even though it was amazing. I still did that, and it made me feel good, and on to the next thing. Had a great back training session. So, okay, so let's see, we went over glutes, we went over low income, protein powder, supplements, meditating. So my last question is just like, how do I know how much to eat? So that's a question I get often too. And please let me know. I'm just going to check to see if there's any other questions really quick to make sure I'm seeing them all. And if anything is coming up for you guys, or if you want clarification on anything that I talked about, I really thought of doing this Q&A. I used to do Facebook Lives a lot, and I do other videos on my YouTube channel. There's like a whole series on just random talks and tips about mindfulness, about training, about eating, about product reviews you can check out. But I wanted to hear from you, like what you want to hear about, because if I'm just always giving you the information, I might not 100% be answering all your questions or addressing all your needs. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this. So I guess we'll just be wrapping up with the last question, unless you guys have any questions that come through, because I don't see any other questions here, although this is taking forever to load for some reason. And I want to say, Nicole, thank you for sharing so many questions and getting other people to check out the answers too. That means a lot. So, and thank you all for joining me as well. Okay, last question is, how do I know how much to eat? So, I've met with so many people, and this will probably sound crazy, but a lot of people undereat. So a lot of times we might be scared of food or scared of carbs or scared of eating too much, and so we're under eating. And when we're under eating, we're never going to be able to meet our health goals. So where I kind of start, and this is really in general because everybody is a little bit different, but you can start general and then fine tune from there, especially if you're eating like the standard American diet, so like the SAD diet, which is full of, sugar and added oils and processed food and fast food and just shit that you don't need, right? So if you're switching from that to trying to eat whole foods, like general is good to go. If you're trying to dial it in a little bit more, then you might want to dial it in a little bit more and do a few different things. So let's talk general. So in general, everybody has a basal metabolic rate, BMR. Your BMR says, based on your height, weight, and age, so again, those are not the only factors that go into how much you should be eating, but in general, based on your height, weight, and age, this is how much you need to eat if you do zero activity. So like just to like breathe and your brain function and that sort of thing, your organs. So you start with your BMR and then based on your activity level. And it's not just how much you exercise, but it's also like if you have an active job too. So like if you're up and around all day versus if you're sitting down all day, like that makes a difference, right? So you'd want to add food based on your exercise and activity level throughout the day. And that'll tell you how much to eat. Now we have three main macronutrients, or macros like you've heard them called: protein, carbohydrates, and fat. That is what gives us energy. And when I mean energy, I mean calories. Protein and carbohydrates give us 4 calories per gram, and fat gives us 9 calories per gram. And then you have your vitamins and minerals and water. Those don't necessarily give us calories, but those play important roles in our body as well. And those mainly come from like fruits and vegetables. So when I think of like how much you should eat, I think if you're thinking of your plate, half of your plate should be full of vegetables, a small amount should be healthy fats, and then the other equal half should be lean meat and good carbohydrates. So that's kind of how to make your plate. The reason I say half vegetables is because that is where you're going to get so many vitamins and minerals and fiber. Fiber is so important to our bodies. So it can help you out so much. If you think back like 100 years ago, humans ate like over 100 grams of fiber a day. Now on the standard American diet, it's like 8 grams of fiber. So you want to try and shoot for at least 30 grams of fiber every single day. And now going back to like how much of that, so you want to have a good balance of each. And like I said, protein and carbs have less calorie dense than fat. So you're going to eat a little bit less fat than protein and carbohydrates. The other thing to take into account when figuring out how much you want to eat is also like your current diet or previous diet that you were on. So let's say that you were dieting and eating like way under, like you're a female, you're eating 1,000 calories. Well, that's not enough at all to sustain you. So you wouldn't want to just jump up to like 1,800 calories because you're really, really active. You'd want to slowly work up to that by adding protein and carbohydrates and maybe a little healthy fat too, depending on where your fat level was at. The other thing that plays into it is your exercise. So if you're doing CrossFit every day, you're probably going to need more food than someone that just walks a mile 3 times a week, because that's different exertion on the energy level. And then the last thing to kind of consider is your body composition. So if you have, the more muscle you have, the more food you need. So muscle takes more energy, more food than fat does. So whereas if someone has, like me, so if I'm with someone that maybe doesn't have as much muscle as I have and we're the same height, weight, and age, I'm still going to eat more food. And let's say we do the same level of activity, but I have more muscle mass, I'm going to eat more food, need more food for my body, and I'll be able to metabolize that because that's what fat does for us. In addition, if you have more muscle, you're going to look leaner, feel stronger, be able to do more. So kind of a little plug for some weight training there too. And let's see, if you've never started, like if you're still really confused on like what food should I eat, what recipes should I make, how should I do it, what should I do here, I do offer my 28-day clean eating program. It's super, super valuable. It's only $38. It actually starts next Monday on April 3rd, and you can sign up for it at carmenohlingeatmovelive.com. help thousands of people. Basically, what you get is you get to learn, like, what are the best foods to put in my body? What are those macronutrient? How much protein, how much carbs, how much fat should I be eating? And what are some dang healthy recipes I can make that actually taste good, that's not like chicken and broccoli and rice? If you're like wanting that, and how do you do the meal prep in advance? If you want all of this information, just sign up. You will not be disappointed. You get your meal plan that breaks down all the macronutrients. It gets your shopping list with it. You get meal prep instructions, and you get to keep and save all the healthy recipes, in addition to support on our Clean Eating Tribe, which is really awesome, on Facebook, where we can all get together, like-minded people. So if you still are kind of lost on what to eat, join that. You'll totally love it. So let's see. Let me see if there were any other questions. It's kind of easier for me to look on here. So I'll be happy to answer any other questions. Or if you're watching this after the live feed, I'll try and check back to this video a few times, and you can ask your questions, and then I'll come back and just respond to you on the questions in there. But I think that's all I have for today, and I thank you for joining me. Also, if this was valuable to you and you think someone else could benefit from them, make sure to comment and tag them in this video on Facebook so they can check out the video as well. Or if you'd like to see more of this again, please comment and let me know, because I can do more of these. Just open Q&A. I'm so happy to talk about anything that would benefit you guys, from nutrition, training, personal development, goal setting, anything at all. That's it. So until then, remember to eat real food, be healthy, and feel amazing. Have a great night.